Tonight on Your News Leader, the mother of the 29-year-old who was lost at sea shares how her son died a hero. After 6 days this afternoon, the defense rests in the trial of accused murderer Rudy Kanata. And Public Health says PEBT funds will finally be uploaded April 8th. We are KUAM and you're watching Primetime.
Confident, good evening everyone. Welcome to Primetime. Guahusi Isaiah again, thank you for joining us. New information regarding an officer-involved shooting that occurred outside the East St. Sung Shell service station. On March 9th, police responded to a report of a man using a slingshot to shoot at a passerby. The suspect was shot by police and died. The Independent Investigative Team, or ITT, has completed its investigative portion into the incident. Based on an autopsy that was conducted on Wednesday, the medical examiner determined the cause of death as multiple gunshot wounds and further ruled it as a homicide. According to the AG's office, the autopsy, ballistic and trajectory analysts, witness interviews, surveillance footage, and other evidence will now be turned over to prosecutors to review. The family of the deceased has requested his name not be publicly released. The government has rested their case on day 6 of Rudy Kanata's trial. He, along with his girlfriend, Joyner Scott Sked, were indicted for the murder of the former Humatic mayor, Daniel Sanchez. Sked was found guilty. KUAM's Hannah Devonzo has the latest.
Rudy Kanata could face decades to life in prison, and his attorney, Peter Santos, is not letting his client go down without a fight. Hoping for a total knockout, he started with a motion for a judgment of acquittal, claiming there is not enough evidence to convict his client for the murder of Daniel Sanchez. Judge Vern Perez, however, denied the motion. Throughout this trial, we've heard from Kanata's friends and family who all alluded to Sked being a wild card. The first defense witness to testify today was Kanata's ex-girlfriend and mother of his child, Anna Austin. Kanata allegedly spent 3 months hiding from his girlfriend Sked at her home.
Was Rudy afraid of Sked?
Yes, I allowed him to stay at my place because he was afraid to be at his place.
Austin witnessed how serious the situation was and tried to get Kanata a protection order.
He was told it was conflict of interest, so we called another agency and also could not get a protection order.
The agencies that she claims denied help were Guam Legal Services and the Public Defender's Office. Also taking the stand today was the program coordinator for the Public Defender's Service Corporation, Kathleen Moylan.
So it appeared at the time, based on the information he provided, that he could have been a victim of domestic violence or stalking.
They were allegedly already representing Sked and could not take Kanata's case. At the end of trial on Thursday, the defense also rested their case. Jury instruction will continue on Friday morning in Superior Court, while they will deliberate on a verdict. Hannah Devonzo for KUAM News.
The conviction and 24-year-old jail sentence for Emmanuel Whack Up will stand. In 2020, he was found guilty in the Superior Court for a machete attack in Manila. You may recall during that incident, several cars were driving along University Drive when they were attacked by Emmanuel and his brother Jordan. In his appeal to the Supreme Court, Emmanuel's attorney argued that the portions of his sentence violated the prohibition against double jeopardy and there wasn't sufficient evidence to support his conviction. Justices, however, rejected the arguments. What they did find, however, was that the trial court didn't hold a hearing on Emmanuel's ability to pay a $5,000 fine and restitution. The identity of the second fisherman that was swept off the reef of Eunomia Beach on Saturday evening has been identified as 29-year-old Javen Apateng Zapatas. KUAM's Tyler Matanani spoke with his mother, Doreen Zapatas, who says her son died a hero.
It's a mother's worst nightmare.
I went straight down there. I went to the waters and I yelled for him to come out now.
Doreen Zapatas was in Texas when her son Alfred called her from Guam, informing her Javen Paul Zapatas was lost at sea. On Saturday, March 19, Javen was at a family get-together at Nomnia Beach. He was fishing while his fiance's goddaughter and boyfriend were snorkeling, when all of a sudden, the couple went into distress. It was then that Javen dropped his rod and reel and leapt into action.
He was able to push the girl onto safety where the water was able to bring her onto shore. Went back out and tried to save her boyfriend. By the time he got to him, he was already panicking in the water.
Javen and 23-year-old TJ Nigton were swept out to sea. A family member tried throwing a buoy out to them, but it was no use. Doreen looks back at the fond memories of her son. He played football for JFK and was in ROTC. She describes him as a hardworking, selfless man who was a proud employee at the Guam Waterworks Authority, a comedian, and a great father of 4.
So he's got 3 girls and 1 son. And his only son looks exactly like him. Splitting image of everything. The way he smiles, their dimple, everything. He made things happen for them. He loved those kids so much.
Javen was set to be married on July 9th. The day that he went missing, his fiancée called him with excitement to tell him that she found the dress.
He went to do fitting for his tux with his Scots. Who goes to a fitting with Scots on? It's typical J. Paul.
On Tuesday, a body was pulled from the water, but the identity has yet to be confirmed. The Guam Fire Department called off the search after 4 days. Federal and local emergency responders collaborated in the effort, along with licensed drone pilots from GFD and GPD with Aviation Concepts. A GoFundMe page was created for Javen if you would like to make a donation for a memorial. The family, however, mostly asks for prayers that he'll be found so that they can have peace. For KUAM News, I'm Tyler Matanani.
A licensed structural engineer has volunteered to help the Archdiocese of Agana. According to spokesperson Tony Diaz, a damage assessment has been conducted of Our Lady of Mount Carmel Church in Hague. Tuesday night, the floor below the sanctuary area, which houses the marble altar, collapsed. No one was injured. Diaz says that the private firm is preparing a report. The church, in the meantime, remains closed. As for funeral masses that were scheduled there, they have been moved to Our Lady of Guadalupe in Santa Rita. Additionally, 2 funerals that were previously scheduled at Mount Carmel will also now be celebrated at the Santa Rita Church on Friday and Saturday, March 25th and the 26th. As for nearby Mount Carmel School, it reopened today. The distribution date for the long-awaited PBT payments has finally been set for some 26,700 Guam Department of Education students. The funds are expected to be uploaded on April 8th after 7 p.m. Cards will be distributed March 28th to April 9, Monday through Saturdays only at the previous vaccination site on the 2nd floor of the Micronesia Mall. As we reported first, this is a one-time issuance of $438 and are valid for 1 year after being loaded. It covers students who were enrolled into GDOE school year 2020 to 2021, including graduates. The Guam Department of Education has begun a series of virtual input sessions allowing parents and stakeholders to share their feedback on the agency's 5-year strategic plan. The Guam Education Board and GDOE have been working on the plan over the past year. It focuses on some of the following areas: leadership, curriculum and instruction, parent engagement, facilities and maintenance, finance and administrative services, and student discipline and safety. According to Deputy Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction Joe Sanchez, GDOE will maintain a safe and positive school culture and learning environment to support the academic and social emotional growth of all students.
Now, the challenge that we have is sometimes it's counterintuitive. What I mean by it's counterintuitive is, when students are acting up, when students are having problems, even when students are fighting, the knee-jerk reaction is punitive, is punish, suspend, make sure that the students are compliant, make sure that the students are, following the rules and so on. And, almost like a, really just enforcement of the rules and policies. Well, if that takes a negative tone, then the likelihood of that school to be ultimately successful goes down drastically.
The strategic plan will go up before the Guam Education Board in April for final adoption, with a goal of implementation by next school year. Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, on day 3 of her Senate confirmation hearing to be a U.S. Supreme Court justice, was asked about her decision involving Guam's bid to get the Navy to pay its fair share of the cleanup of the old ORDOT dump. Senator Amy Klobuchar today mentioned Guam versus U.S. in making a point about the judge's past decisions on the federal bench that were reversed but later reinstated.
Well, that case is kind of legally complicated. It was a CERCLA case, which is a Superfund cleanup kind of case where the country of Guam which has a dump site on it that was used by both the citizens of Guam and the United States before the 1950s, when the United States was stationed there. Military operations happened out of Guam, and there was a lot of dumping into this site.
The judge erroneously called Guam a country. Jackson is likely to become the first black woman to sit on the high court and the first to have worked as a public defender. In other news, 64 people in Guam and 29 people in the CNMI were victims of internet crimes in 2021. The Federal Bureau of Investigation released its Internet Crime Report, which places Guam in 55th and the CNMI 56th down the list of victims per state. Guam saw $2.1 million in the victim loss, while the CNMI reported a $705,244 loss as a result of those crimes. The three most common online crimes nationally are phishing, non-payments and non-deliveries, and personal data breaches. The report notes that one complaint can have multiple types of crime, and some complaints were filed more than once. The FBI report describes the past year of web activity as an unprecedented increase in cyber attacks and malicious cyber activity. They added cyber incidents are in fact crimes deserving of an investigation leading to judicial repercussions for the perpetrators who commit them. An airport contractor has been found in violation of the Fair Labor Standards Act. According to a media release, USDOL investigators found that the general contractor on an $18 million building project at GIAA denied 2 workers overtime wages and failed to pay 4 heavy equipment operators as required on the federally supported project. The investigation led to the recovery of more than $14,000 in back wages and liquidated damages for the 6 workers and an assessment of more than $2,200 in several penalties, civil penalties, for the repeated and willful nature of BME and Sons violations. In 2020, the company paid almost $14,000 in penalties following a federal investigation that year that found overtime wage violations. Out with the old in preparation of bringing in the new. Over at the Port Authority, a $2.5 million project kicks off to demolish, dismantle, and dispose of massive inoperable assets. We're talking about Guarantee Cranes, mobile harbor crane, and 2 barges that haven't been working for decades. By getting rid of these inoperable equipment, it will eliminate unsafe working conditions for port employees and users and will present the port with financial opportunities to generate revenue by creating additional berthing space for ships along the wharfs. And still to come on Your News Leader, a meeting for the Interagency on the Homelessness and Office of Homelessness Assistance and Poverty Prevention is held today, and what will be on the session agenda for lawmakers tomorrow. These stories and more up next on Primetime.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
Half a day. Gas prices continue to rise, and we are here to help. We have revised Program Salapi to provide a $300 direct cash assistance payment to most households. We've expanded income eligibility so more families will benefit.
We've heard your struggles, and we hope this relief will help during these difficult times. The Department of Administration will begin accepting applications on Tuesday, March 15th, 2022. For more information, visit doa.guam.gov.
This ad is paid for by the Office of the Governor using government funds.
Hey, Mars, good evening, man.
Good morning.
We like to say we're in the business of opening doors. Since first opening our doors in 1972, our love for our community has driven our legacy of service. We've seen paths to bigger and brighter futures.
So, what are we saving for?
School. We've seen the heart of our people.
You ready for this?
We've seen our communities come together to help one another. We've seen passion become successful business plans. We've seen generations of families grow with us.
Wow, that was easy. Wow.
And when we think of all the doors we helped to open, we can't help but be reminded of the reason we're still here today. Our people.
At the start of the pandemic, being the only provider in my household, I was so worried that I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to pay my bills.
I still work, but it was short hours, like only 2 hours, 3 hours a day, and that didn't really cut it.
I wasn't really thinking about getting any type of federal assistance.
I got PUA and I got seniors, and it's helped a lot. It really means a lot to us.
It really took a lot of burdens off my shoulders. It really helped me to provide for my family and put food on the table, and it really came at my time of need.
Yeah, kind of dropped your worries down because everything was less stress.
I was able to stay at home with my son and not worry about having to work during the pandemic.
Thank you for the federal fund.
Thank you for the unemployment assistance.
Thank you so much for the pandemic unemployment assistance. If you have any questions, please contact your congressman's office.
This ad was paid for with official funds from the office of Congressman Michael F.Q. San Nicolas.
Let us know what's up on our KUAM News WhatsApp tip line at 671-727-0094. Share information about what's happening in your town, on Guam or the Sinamai, and what you want us to know. Reach us on WhatsApp at 671-727-0094.
Welcome back to your news leader. Senators and administration officials Tuesday held the first special economic service meeting ahead of the fiscal year 2023 budget process. The governor's fiscal team had an update on the current financial picture. Budget Director Lester Carlson says general fund revenues are tracking $61 million higher than projected, but going forward, it will be increased construction activity, mostly military buildup projects that will drive and maintain the economy.
Some of the reports in the CRER that the construction sector, you'll see how that, as Mr. Hiles mentioned, is booming and phenomenal and all those other nice words, right? But it bears out in the actual line item for that particular category of work. The comfort that I have is knowing that the base is there to be able to provide the continuation of the revenues that we believe we can sustain.
But Public Auditor B.J. Cruz says when the military projects are quoted in the billions of dollars, most of that money does not come to Guam. It goes to vendors and contractors stateside. He says Guam could cash in more by taxing the construction up front.
They're not paying anything. They're keeping a lot of the stuff to pay everybody in Maryland and wherever. And I keep insisting that actually, straight off the top, 5% should be for the privilege of doing business on Guam. But for the fact that Guam existed and this system was going into Guam, you would not get the contract for $1.9 billion to build this system.
GVB also said tourism, Guam's other main economic driver, continue to show improvement, but it will be more of a slower up-shaped rebound than a V-shaped one. The administration has already submitted its fiscal year 2023 executive budget request of $998 million with $695 million available for appropriation. Senators are expected to begin agency-by-agency budget hearings starting next month. They have until the end of August to pass a spending plan to submit to the governor. Senators are scheduled to go into session tomorrow, and on the agenda, Senator Sabina Perry's Bill 236, which aims to strengthen requirements for Gov Guam small purchases. The measure would require proof that 3 quotes were obtained for purchases under $25,000 and that it helps avoid the practice of no-quote quotations, which the bill calls mistreatment. Other measures on the agenda include Vice Speaker Tina Rose Munia Barnes' Barada Act, which would provide healthcare field scholarships to partner colleges in the states for eligible local students. Speaker Teresa Lahi's Bill 41 would expedite adoption. Report Senator Joe San Augustine's Bill 211 increases GURA board member compensation to $250 a meeting. Senator Frank Bloss Jr.'s Bill 171 would appropriate $250,000 to the Valley of the Lati for construction of a Chamorro Cultural Center. Some welcome news for homeowners who missed the first half of the Homeowners Assistance Fund program. Another application period will be opening up to apply for the HAF program. Program Director for the Guam Homeowner Assistance Fund program, Audrey Tapasnia.
So the next cycle 2 would be April 11 to April 22nd. So this is another opportunity for homeowners who were not able to apply, that they can apply again starting April 11, or for homeowners who didn't experience a financial hardship of COVID, but now they have since we've closed the application in February.
Along with the reopening of the HAF program, the Low-Income Household Water Assistance Program will launch as well for homeowners and renters who come from low-income households. The program will provide eligible households up to $1,000 to help them pay off overdue water bills or those in jeopardy of having their water line cut off. In part 4 of his series Pandemic at Work, KUAM's Tomas Maglonia reports from the CNMI. He sits down with the Chamber of Commerce, who shares how the islands can come up for air in the aftermath of COVID.
What's one of the biggest challenges facing the CNMI economy?
Access to workers coming out of COVID.
The supply and demand scale is at risk of tipping over.
We're still having issues actually with getting the skilled workers, and we need skilled workers, so what's the best fit?
But there are also shifts within the local workforce, mirroring the national trends of the Great Resignation. Workers are quitting their jobs, switching careers, and even going back to school for both professional trades and a college degree.
Construction workers, technical workers, engineers. There are many projects that need to be launched, whether it's in telecom. There's a lot of millions that need to be deployed in telecom. A lot of those require technical people, and not necessarily people from the islands, but we're competing for technicians out in the States, and we're almost going to have to beg them to come here for these small short-term projects, if you short-term being 1 to 3 years.
Business leaders are backing a request for Congress to increase the cap for temporary workers. Without more workers, the downpour of federal funds would lag behind their expiration. COVID's changing faces throw variance in an industry reliant on consistency.
Although we've been set back by the pandemic, in a way that there's a lot of silver linings and a lot of good things that are starting to play. And I think it's because of the pandemic has allowed us to say, you know what, we really need to start facing the issues at hand. Let's not keep kicking the can down the road.
As much as they look outward, grassroots efforts at home are being driven for solid waste management, upgrading infrastructure, and reviving the tourism market for a new normal that becomes the norm again. Tomas Maglonia for KUAM News.
It's still one of the world's most prevalent infectious disease, and to spread awareness of it, a virtual proclamation signing was held to recognize March 24th as World Tuberculosis Day. Public Health Deputy Director Laurent Duenas.
The Guam TB program adapted to the changing landscape and played an essential role in continuing TB elimination activities. Despite staffing and resources challenges, the program continued to care for all suspected and active TB patients throughout the COVID-19 pandemic.
Duenas added that in 2020 and 2021, 115 people were confirmed to have TB on Guam out of 153 individuals who were highly suspected to have the disease. Each year, World Tuberculosis Day is observed to raise public awareness about the devastating effects of TB and the social and economic consequences of the disease. According to the World Health Organization, over 4,100 people lost their lives to TB and close to 28,000 people fall ill with TB. Stay tuned. Up next, Dave Delgado with your roundup of local sports, and still to come, your Coastal Creamery birthday shoutouts. Keep it here. You're watching KUAM.
want some milk?
Do you ever wonder how your favorite products make their way into your local stores? Most arrive on state-of-the-art Matson vessels that transport containers of food, household items, equipment, and supplies into the islands every week. Because we know that you depend on us, we work closely with our partners to ensure that our shipments arrive on time, all the time, so you can find your favorite products when you need them. We transport the region's most precious cargo that supports successful businesses and promotes a better quality of life for our families. Matson is proud to have been the hometown shipping carrier for Guam, the CNMI, and Micronesia for the past 25 years, and you can count on us to be here for generations to come.
We knew it was time to make these when we started asking things like, wouldn't it be nice to be able to get a warm cinnamon roll right now? And why can't this kind of muffin come from the same place as a McMuffin? And isn't your coffee lonely without company from a glazed apple fritter? Well, consider these our 3 resounding yeses. Meet the new bakery sweets at McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
It's beautiful.
It is, right, baby?
Dad, isn't that where we usually stop for gas?
It's where we used to stop, but not anymore.
But isn't that the place with the milkshakes?
Okay, all right, let's go.
Good job, kids.
Take your adventure further in the first ever Santa Fe Hybrid.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Dave Delgado here for KUAM Sports. Thanks for watching. We get you started tonight with some men's basketball highlights from the Triton Men's Basketball League played at the UOG Calvo Fieldhouse. Check it out. MVP Stars start the game on a 7-0 run. JP Cruz doing what he does. Three-pointer from up top, drops in. Yes, sir. Cruz with the behind-the-back pass to Vince Estella to Joe Blas. Corner pass to James Stake. Goes inside to Darren Hetchanova. Bombers inbounding the ball. Russell Wren gets the ball and finds Jaden Finley open in the corner. Finley lit up the scoreboard for 22 points. Jin Han to Estella for the jumper. Vince finished the game with 10 points. 72-47 MVP after 3 quarters. Pierre Colley hit for 14 points. Tough shot through the lane and one. Stars go on to win 99-77. Darren Hetchanova 19 points. JP Cruz chipped in with 20. The MVP Stars stay undefeated at 4-0. The loss drops the Bombers to 3-1. Joe Blas game high 37 points, 5 3-pointers in the second half. On Saturday, the Triton Men's Basketball League will play a triple header to end the first half of the season. At 2 in the afternoon, Team OG takes on the UOG Tritons. 3:45 MVP Stars versus Team Wu-Tang. And then at 5:30, MBI 4 Stars taking on the KFC Bombers. Entrance fee is $3 for adults, $2 for non-UOG students, and seniors. UOG students are free. Congrats to 15-year-old Guam national team member Stussy Sharoma, who carded a +476 to capture first place in the Northern Marianas College Foundation Annual Golf Open A-Flight at the Lau Lau Golf Resort in Saipan. Sharoma edged out Amir Yunus, who also shot a 76 via scorecard playoff to take the win. The Annual Golf Open is Saipan's longest running and most prestigious golf tournament, attracting an international field of 144 golfers. In soccer news, over 200 players, volunteers, and staff participated in the Guam Football Association's 2022 Girls Football Festival, the main event of Guam's celebration of AFC Women's Football Day at the GFA. The festival featured activities with volunteers from various youth clubs and players from the Women's National Program, as well as small-sided games. As part of the celebration, participants in both the exhibition match and the 2022 Girls Football Festival received AFC Women's Football Day t-shirts.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Need a new phone? Trade in now and get up to $500 off our best 5G devices. Trade in your older phone in any condition and step up to better savings and speeds only our 5G network can provide. Check out our website and catch up on the best mobile experience. Trade in now. Docomo Pacific, better together.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
Don't need a work break, keep the smile on your face. The moments you can't replace, and I'll be around. Whoa. You can count on me, count on me for life.
Wherever life takes you, we're always here for you. Calvo's Insurance. Count on us for life.
Welcome back to Primetime. For the first time in its rich history, spanning 7 decades, the University of Guam is extending its traditional Charter Day to Charter Month, because let's face it, a single day isn't enough to contain the contributions UOG has made to not only Guam but throughout the region in academics, training, and research. Here's Jason Solis with a look at transforming lives, advancing communities.
Perpetual flexibility is how Dr. Margaret Hattori Uchima leads the University of Guam's School of Health while adapting to the ever-changing pace of healthcare education and expectations across the Pacific. Appropriately, the college's motto invites the eager young minds of tomorrow to become the heart of healthcare.
With the School of Health, whether it's nursing, social work, or health science, we're giving the students the tools to make a difference in their communities and in their own life, right? They need to learn healthy lifestyles, but also how do you empower somebody else to take charge of their life?
The college facilitates multidisciplinary programs as part of our allied health system that have immediate impact on the well-being of any Guamanian.
Every time we take the students out, whether it's with public health, doing vaccinations or swabbing, or recently we've been doing some senior citizen outreach events, the students are always saying, we didn't know, well, we've taken them to some poverty-stricken communities, right? And so they'll say, it's important that we see how people are living, how people that need help, are living, and what can we do.
This rigorous curriculum prepares students to care for and emphasize with people in need far beyond our island shores.
A lot of times our Micronesian migrants, our brothers and sisters from the other islands, right, suffer from higher rates of health disparities. We have to have that cultural sensitivity. And so I think, shout out to social work, but they really make sure that we train our students to work with the various cultures, right? There are differences, there are a lot of similarities, and we learn both, but try to have respect for each other.
The college boasts a classroom to employment rate of 100% and a near perfect rate for nursing majors passing their NCLEX licensure exams on the first try. This turns out workers finding placement not merely at a job, but as professionals fulfilling their calling.
We've added things like caregiver training, nursing assistant, and we've got other pipeline types of programs that we're definitely going to implement over the next few years.
The driving force behind the school is the pedigree and dedication of the school's instructor corps.
They share that experience with the students, and also it's their passion, right? So they convey that passion to the students, and that's constantly students will say, oh, so-and-so is my role model, and this is why I want to be a social worker, or I learned from, this nurse, and I'm going to take that to the bedside with me.
And so we've come full circle, back to the heart, that central, critical organ that delivers tempo and pulse for the human system, which learners endeavor to study as their life's work. But it's with heart, genuine concern for the patient, and to resolve to carry on the work that's possibly the greatest lesson and greatest strength of all School of Health graduates.
That's what UOG is all about. It is love for the community. Because we could all be somewhere else, honestly, right? But the people that choose to stay at UOG do it because we love our island and we love our region. So thank you, I really appreciate it. Viva School of Health! Viva UOG!
We wrap up tonight's show with your birthday shoutouts. Here's KUAM's Jason Salas again.
Happy birthday on this March 24th to Darlene Kineni Tupaz. Happy birthday, baby sister Dar. We love and miss you so much. Please stay safe and enjoy yours and Mama's special day. Hugs to you from all your families all over the world. And Jeanette Lee Bazaduenas, happy birthday number 18 to you. Mom and Dad and the family are sending you their very best wishes.
You can be a part of our Coach Song Curry Birthday Club by registering online at KUAM.com.